So, first of all, if you want to tell us a little bit more about yourself and your background, please.
Um, well, I am 73. I live in northern Vermont. I grew up outside of New York City, and I hold on a second. I just have something else on the computer. Let me get it off. Okay, va bene. Okay, and I've lived in northern Vermont since around 1970, so 50 years. I like uh, my studio is right outside my house. I like having the quiet of Vermont. It feeds me. It feeds my creativity, as opposed to the city. When I go to New York, it drains me. And I used to love New York, and New York is not my favorite place now. Anyways, Venezia is. Um, I went to art school
Okay.
during the Vietnam War,
Oh,
and graduated with a degree in sculpture. Uh, what else about me? What else would you like to know? Oh, I've been invited to exhibit in the Venice Biennale in 2018, when it was the Architecture Biennale. I was in Palazzo Mora. I had one piece there, and the next year they invited me to exhibit, to have an entire room. And I have a film on that. If you'd like to see that, I can send you all that information.
oh, thank
Yeah.
you.
And it's basically what my art was about then. It still is now, but it's changed a little. Is about empowering women, not being afraid to speak up. It
Yeah.
took me almost 70 years to be able to do that.
It's
uh,
great.
uh, and the exhibit was amazing in Palazzo Mora. I don't know, you've been to Venice, I take it. It's only,
Yeah.
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 Okay, we've been to Milano too. Um, anyways, and women cried in my arms, men shook my hands, and I had, what was interesting is the in the Biennale, it's all in English, and this is taking place in Italy.
Yes.
So I made sure, well, I talked to people in Italian and French and little and Spanish, but I made sure that the gist of what my exhibit was about was in Italian. And people were just totally amazed that there was actually some Italian there that they could read and they could understand. And I was surprised about that. That it was. I guess it's an international event, but it still is in Italy, and you want to be respectful. Um, so I had people every day. I was there for a month talking to people, and the connections, I hadn't expected it. First of all, I my art tells my story before I know it, which is very interesting. And I didn't know till I looked at everything there what had happened. One of the first pieces that I did was breaking free and fighting back. And that I didn't realize till 3 years after I left my first husband that that's what the piece was about. And it was a woman, and she was clawing her way. She was faceless and clawing her way out. The rest of the pieces were uh, about breaking out of oppression and having your voice heard. Um, Certainly when I grew up, I was born in 1947, I was told for many years to be a good little girl.
Yeah. So indeed, like, do you think that being a woman has affected your career as an artist? Like, how?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And being a woman brought out this whole exhibit and encouraging women to have courage. And it's essential that I was a woman for me to be able to do these pieces. Right now, I'm working on a series. I've started working on a series. I have think 6 pieces, and about empowering Black women for inclusion.
This is an amazing like team, really.
Yeah.
Would you like to tell us more about this work?
Yeah, I talked to my niece who was Black on the phone, and after all these years, after 28 years, I've talked to her many times. She made me cry. She told me what it was like to be a Black woman. And I get angry, I get upset, they can't do this to you. How can somebody do this to you? This is, my niece, she's so wonderful and beautiful. And I think that triggered it, is that I feel like I like reacting and doing things. And I started doing a Black woman dancer who was just beautiful in my studio, just a young, gorgeous dancer. And I came inside and my husband said, do you know, Black women aren't included most of the time for lead parts in major ballets. And not until 5 years ago did a Black woman ballerina get to play a lead part in the Washington Ballet. It's 5 years ago. And to me, I don't see Black, I don't see white, I see who you are. I don't see color. And it's amazing to me that something like ballet, they wouldn't do something about with talent. If it's amazing, if this person is conveying something, why not use them? Who cares about the color of their skin? But obviously they do care. And this is what I'm interested in doing now. The piece came, the Black ballerina came, I think, from talking to my niece, and then all this other stuff came out. And I know to look at my pieces now and say, what are you saying? Which is interesting, because people think artists have a concept and they're doing it and they figure it out. Mine is my inner self that comes out, and then I say, okay, what is this about?
Okay, so this concept is very strong, it's very important, and your works have a social and political meaning that is very, very strong. So what does it mean this for you, and how this concept is translated in your sculptures and drawings?
It's a way for me to express it. And thank you for bringing up my drawings too. Have you seen any of my drawings?
Yes,
You did. Okay.
your...
Yeah. Every day that we're in Venice, I draw. I need to, especially when the Biennale, I'll go back to your question, but just a little bit more. Especially when I was going every day, I was commuting to the Biennale on El Laguna. It was amazing. I'd say, this is my commute to work. But I'd stop and I'd draw for an hour or two beforehand. I wouldn't look at the clock at the academia. And because it's very important for me to be an artist first, not just talk art. A lot of people talk art, they talk materials, they talk about how they do things in their kiln or in the foundry. That doesn't interest me. I want to feel like an artist first. So where was I? Oh, and there was in Venezia, I think it was 2 years ago, there was at the Correa Museum, there was an exhibit by a French couple. They had collected drawings for 40 years. And it was an amazing collection. What was wonderful about it is that, Correa is right in San Marco, and in the square, San Marco Square. And it was completely empty, the exhibit, which is, people think they think drawings aren't finished or drawings aren't whatever, they're not worth looking at. So I was able to go in to this exhibit and stand 12 inches away from each of these drawings. And I spent 3 or 4 hours each day, sometimes 5, drawing line by line each of these masters' drawings and how they did it, which is totally exhausting to try to do that. I didn't try to do my drawing. I tried to learn from the masters, and this was a wonderful way to do it. Make the line they made. Every single line that was in there. Well, you're Italian, so you probably know. In a lot of the museums, the guards, well, people are so involved in their everyday life, which is wonderful. In New York, if I draw in a museum in New York, people barely look at me because they're acting so sophisticated. In Italy, when I'm drawing, everybody will come over and talk to me. In the Corriere Museum, the person who does the security guard, he would give me a critique. I don't know, do you know what a critique is in about my drawing? Oh, today the nose is just wonderful and this and that. So one of the things that happens is when I draw there, I need to talk to the docents, to the guards, and say, look, I get very involved in my drawings and I need now I'm trying to speak to you in English, not Italian. Concentration. I could talk to you in Italian. And I need quiet. So if you're going to talk and have a good time, just do it further away from me. So they got used to every day they were looking at what I did, and they were radioed down. I felt like the queen or something. The senora has finished her drawing. She's coming down the stairs. But one day my husband came in, and he knows that after once I start drawing, I don't see the people around me. It was last year. We went to Firenze and went to the Uffizi. And my husband always says, all these people always look at you when you draw. And I said, oh yeah, right. They're looking at me. So he took a picture of me, and there was a Michelangelo painting there, which was very unusual to have it there. And I went over to the side, but still where I could see it. And I started to draw it. He took a picture. There was about 200 people that were around me. One person had a camera over my head. I didn't see it. After I get into the drawing, it is so very, very intense that I don't see that. Anyway, so he came one day to the Corriere Museum, and he knew he could take a photograph of me once I was into my drawing that I wouldn't notice at all. I mean, he doesn't get near, but he would do it. So he came to the room, to the edge of the room, and he started to take a photograph, and two museum guards came from two different rooms. They took him by his arms, and then they said, the senora is drawing, you can't photograph her. Which is great. And they escorted him out of the museum. I had to meet him at the bottom. But the wonderful appreciation and the joy. I mean, people on the street saying when I'm drawing classical art, and they really, they appreciate it. Anyways, where did we start from? Did you have another question?
I think you answered this question already, but I would like to ask you something else. So, which other great women artists inspire you, and why?
This is a loaded question, and truthfully, I'm the same with gender as I am with race. I don't see it as a woman. I mean, I'm glad that women artists are fighting and they're making it, because we've had a long fight, and we certainly need all the support that we can get. And women nowadays need to know that. And that was the other thing about my exhibit too, is they needed to understand how much it took for a woman to get noticed. And still in the Met, there's 4% of women that are in the Met. And the saying is, what is the name of the Gorilla Girls, is you have to be naked in a painting to be a woman in the Met. Yeah. And it's very, very important for me to honor that. But I think I look at art that influences me and things that influence me. It's not a intellectual thing. It goes inside of me, and I capture it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. This is really amazing. So,
yeah,
like, do you believe in the dichotomy in art and activism. So do you think that art really can be a form of activism, can act on society and make a change?
Oh, absolutely. And it's very, very important. I mean, one of our senses we use are our eyes. And after being in the Biennale, I had there's 3,000 visitors in one weekend to my show. I I thought at first I thought, well, I'm doing this show. First of all, it frightened me because I had all these emotions inside of me about oppression for so many years, and then I was going to write about it and show it to everyone, absolutely anyone who came in there, and so and it wound up being very cathartic. It was okay that I was brave enough to do that. Um, Now I'm trying to get back to where I was. But oh, and I thought people would come into the exhibit and they might say, "Oh, well, there's beautiful sculpture. Oh, isn't that lovely? There's gold and this and that." And no one said that in any language. They came into the room and their mouths dropped open and their eyes opened. And I said, "Oh my God, they're really seeing it." Women would touch my arm and start to cry. Like they understood, even if we didn't speak the same language. And I think from that, I mean, that's living proof that it's something. The art world is the art world's very difficult, and it's something that I try not to let bother me too much because it's a commercial market. The galleries, the museums need to make money. They make money on the shiny new whatever stuff comes up. So I think people just latching onto uh, politically trying to do things. Uh, it To me, it's not what my art's about. I would be making my art in my studio, whether people were seeing it or not. I have to. I'm an artist. That's what I do. But I definitely think that I definitely know that you can influence people through your art.
Yes. Thank you. And your commitment is very surprising and empowering. I don't even know how to explain it. And it is amazing also because our work as a committee is to spread this mission, spread women's art all over Italy. And we want to make feel women empowered through art. And we want to grant the same visibility that a male artist can have also today. Indeed, like you mentioned, galleries and maybe also auction houses, etc. Do you think that in those specific markets, is there still a discrimination between male artists and women artists nowadays, or that
Oh, yeah, there is definitely. I mean, you look at the numbers of percentage of women that are included in those things, but I think it still comes down to people get all starry-eyed about art. Oh, art, and they don't realize it's a business. And right now, it's really a business because people are closing all the time.
yes,
But but that doesn't mean that we give up. It does, I fight harder when things get tougher. I fight harder. And it's yeah, women are really, really underrepresented. And also women are treated differently. I was at a cardiologist the other day, and he treated me like I was an hysterical woman. I mean, you got to be crazy. I said, I'm not putting up with this. And I think that like I said, women need to realize everything we've gone through to get to the point we're at, and continue on.
yeah. I mean, we have gained a lot throughout the years, but still we need to fight. We need to be recognized as we are, as human being, not as women or men or
Absolutely. Absolutely. Did you, I don't know if you read in my in some of the writings that I did that Ruth Bader Ginsburg was they didn't take her seriously, that she had an interview, the Supreme Court justice who just died, US one, and I think it was in 99, I'm not sure, but when she first came onto the Supreme Court, they were all males. She was the only female. And they did not listen to her like they listened to the male Supreme Court people. And she obviously was absolutely wonderful and super, super intelligent. But I think it's a matter of not giving up, not putting up with what's going on. I think you want to be, I think you want to express yourself. This is my feeling. People will listen to you if you're not expressing yourself uh, vehemently, violently. You want to, if you have a message and you want people to hear it, you've got to get the way that they're going to listen. If you just shout your message out, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to go anyplace.
Yeah. I think we are very lucky to talk with you as an artist and as a person. So you are teaching us some very important points. So I think we are very lucky, and I hope that in the world there are other artists, women and men, that think like you. And also, you talk about the experience at the Venice Biennale in 2018 and 19, if I'm not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And what did this experience teach you? And if you have, I don't know, any ideas for the future for your work, what are you working on in this moment? And if you think that also in the next year, so you will be participating to the Biennale or to other events?
Yeah, I'd like to. Well, next year is the Architecture Biennale because it was postponed, as you know. So I'd like to, yeah, the year after, I'd love to be in the Biennale again. I don't know where my work's going to take me. It's always a surprise. And as long as I deal with the truth and my inner strength and just let it come out and just relax and not with necessarily with the words, it's a time. I mean, I love talking and I love writing, but it's a time to not use any of those, to just use my vision and my inner self to make things. So right now I'm working on Black women. I have no idea what's going to happen in the future.
Well, we're
Okay.
looking forward to discover it. So I really hope you'll be at the Biennale so we can, we can see your works.
Yes.
Well, there's the film about it, so you can see some of my work there. I hired a Venetian woman who's a great filmmaker, and she filmed the Biennale.
Okay.
Thank you. And would you like to suggest something to, women, young artists that are struggling to affirm themselves in the market, or they're struggling to gain visibility? What would you like to suggest to them?
To not give up, to know what's important, and hopefully the answer is not just to get known or to get rich, but is to do your art. For me, it's not a choice. That's what I exist for, is to do my art. And I think that there's a small percentage of people, artists, who will persist, and they just get discouraged. And no one can take my studio away from me.
That's amazing, and that should be the soul of every artist.
Yeah.
Art just because you have to do art. Not
Yeah.
it is a way to do something. It's just it's what you are. It's what you are. So it's really amazing, hearing you telling these kinds of things. I think that for me and for Simona, it makes us believe in really hard in art, and it's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, grazie mille.
Grazie a lei. I hope we will see each other very soon, maybe in Venice.
Yes, that would be wonderful. We have hoping to go in May, but I don't know what the virus is going to be like then.
We don't know either. I really hope this situation will end as soon as possible. But it's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very hard. Can you send me a copy of this film?
Of course,
Yes.
of course. And like, if you want to send us, as you said before, like some material more, so I mean, we would be very honored to write an article about you and to publish it on our website. So you can also would have more visibility maybe, and you could be heard by more people.
Yeah.
Okay, grazie.
And also, if you need something, you can just write us, or maybe we can follow each other on Instagram. Maybe you can see our page, and also if you need our emails, we are here. So we are very glad.
Okay. Okay. Are you on anything besides Instagram?
Yeah, I mean, if you
Are
want.
you on Facebook, or is your organization on Facebook or LinkedIn?
Yeah,
Yeah,
our
it's-
organization is on Facebook, and I can write the name in chat. It is Italy Committee of the National Museum of Women in the Arts.
Okay, I can find that.
Okay. Have you ever had the chance to visit the museum in Washington?
No, I haven't. I haven't. Years ago, I showed in the Smithsonian as a Renwick Gallery, and I
Yeah.
showed in the Renwick Gallery, but no, I haven't. No, I'm interested in going down there and seeing it.
You know, now, right now, there is new biennial exhibition that is Women to Watch, and the main theme is paper route. That is every artwork made of paper, of course, only by women.
Mm-hmm.
And it should last till the beginning of January, mid-January.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, if COVID and the situation allows, maybe it would amazing like for you to watch, but also like to talk to people within the museum. Maybe, I mean, you could have a lot of support there too. I mean, they might be interested also in your work.
Great. Now, when is this exhibit starting?
It has already started, actually.
Okay.
So,
yes.
And who is curating it? Do you know?
yes. Yes, just 1 second, because I don't exactly remember the name.
I'm looking for it.
If it's too difficult to find, it's okay. You can email me it, or I'll look it up online.
Yeah, if you want, we can email you more information.
Yeah, that would be great.
Of course.
Okay. Okay. I wish they had known about me. Some of my clay work is reinforced with paper. It's called paper clay.
Uh-huh.
So I could have been part of the exhibit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, try to get a connection with them. Maybe
Yeah.
it would be useful for the future.
Also, yeah, the committees, the American committees, yes, there are many committees in the world. So we are the Italian one, and we are more curating Italian artists that will exhibit in Washington. Maybe you can find on the website of the National Museum of Women in the Arts the specific committee. Maybe
Yeah.
that's more helpful. Yes.
Yeah, I'll be able to.
For every biennale, each committee has to choose a certain number of artists, and then a specific curator of each committee would choose like the winner that could exhibit to the biennial. So maybe you can find your committee state, maybe offers a connection with them. So
That would be great.
Yeah.
very maybe it could be an opportunity. So
Okay.
thank you so much. It has been amazing conversation.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Grazie mille.
Grazie.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Have a good night. Good day,
Good
actually.
day.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
So much. Ciao.
Thank you. Bye. Ciao.
Ciao.